Anything else?
Phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
Hey, just what you see, pal.
The Uzi 9mm.
You know your weapons, buddy. Any one of these is ideal for home defense. So, which will it be?
All.
I may close early today. There's a 15-day wait on the handguns, but the rifles you can take right now. You can't do that.
Wrong.
Man, you know how we always joke on this show? I know it's a small part, but can't they get somebody better?
Oh yeah,
they got the right guy this time. They got him.
This is guy number 2 for sure.
They got this guy, best actor in this entire movie. And that's saying a lot because they're all good.
I want to see that audition process because everyone else they probably saw that guy walk in and they just hung their heads.
Wasn't he so convincing?
Yeah, he's basically Harvey Keitel's younger brother is what it seems like to me.
The poor man's Harvey Keitel.
But seriously, Drew, if the guy walks into your gun shop, you own the gun shop.
Yeah.
And he's asking for all these weapons, right down the line, asking for the plasma rifle. Like, this guy's clearly not in it for self-defense. Like,
the plasma rifle was the tipping point there. He should have known.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is looking for something a little bit tougher.
If you're a gun store owner, like, don't you have some kind of moral obligation to or is it like all bets are off? Maybe all bets are off.
I thought maybe you would think it's like a bartender where it's like if someone's visibly intoxicated, he's intoxicated on wanting to go murder the mother of the future.
Right. Yeah, it was clear. The guy had murder written all over his face,
I mean, just look at him.
What do you do as a gun owner? I don't know. That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. So anyway, dude, episode 100. Welcome back to the Last Row podcast. Or should I say the podcast? It's been a while.
Yeah, it took us 7 years, but we made it.
Welcome back. We have a thing planned here in a second, but before we get to that, if you're new to the show, you're looking for our website, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at thelastrowpod, facebook.com/thelastrowpod. Check out our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're enjoying it and you haven't done so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Dude, how did we make it 7 years later with a big hiatus in the middle?
So, I mean, we're averaging 14 episodes per year. Yeah, that's not bad, right? That's not so bad.
But the thing that I'm the most proud of is, the old listeners, the people who have been here since the beginning, hopefully they're not, hopefully they understand, like, we've been very consistent and I'm proud of us. Yeah. I got to tell you.
Yeah, we put out 26 episodes in 2021 and we're rolling here in 2022. But
every 2 weeks, man.
Yeah. So we're doing it. So this is episode 100. It's about the Terminator. But before we get into that, we just wanted to take some time to recognize a couple of our mail-ins. People mail it into us and giving us some shout-outs, some recognition for our 100th episode, so we appreciate that so much. So if you're hungry for that hot Terminator action, maybe skip ahead 5-10 minutes, and then, but if you do, you're a big jerk, and I think you should listen to the whole episode, so.
You got to give the people the credit. Like, we do get some mail-ins. We don't always read them, and we got to do a better job of that, so thanks to everybody that sent us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com.
So the first one from KML writes in, fellas, congrats on making it to 100. After 100 episodes, what are your top 3 or what are your favorites that you have done? Pretty much what's your favorite episode?
Man, are you asking me? Or
why don't you go give me 1 or 2 pre-hiatus.
Okay.
And then give me 1 or 2 from 2021 and beyond.
It's hard because pre-hiatus, we had some really, really fun ones. A couple, I'm sorry, Cam, I'm probably going to go cheat here, but I would say Bloodsport was one of my favorite ones just because of the intro.
It's funny.
That was a great one.
People asked us this way back in the day, and I feel like Bloodsport was your answer back then.
Yeah.
Are you saying that we peaked at Bloodsport?
Yes.
What episode is Bloodsport, Drew? Like 6?
I think it was like 8 or something. It's been all downhill.
Yeah, we peaked in 2015.
Yeah, and then I was gonna repeat 2 others. Like I was gonna say either Bloodsport or Roadhouse. Yeah, see, you know me.
I knew it.
And also, obviously, the most classic is the original take on Terry Silver, the Ballad of Terry Silver, because that's a classic. But no, I'm going to change my answer this time. Instead of Bloodsport, I'll take it back, and I'm going to say Blank Check, because I feel like we uncovered some serious stuff with the accounting in that movie, and that was investigative journalism. Just book that. What about you?
Okay, I'm going to cheat, and I'm not going to pick 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to pick a run of episodes
All right.
that I found here. So we we had a few hiatuses here and there, right, Drew?
A few.
We were a little inconsistent with our release schedule, but I like to consider an episode released from the last row back from the 2015 through 2020 days to be a gift to the audience. To them, it was the greatest days of their lives, but to us, it was just a Saturday, right? Or just a Thursday. When we record on Saturdays, release on Thursdays. But so going back to June of 2017, we did episode 61, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
That was a really good one.
And now I'm not saying we did an episode every week because these skip. The other one's June, one's August, and then we go on to 18. So we have a hiatus there. But episode 61, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 62 Speed, 63 Con Air, 64 Encino Man, 65 Jack Frost, which was our Christmas episode, 66 Last Action Hero, and 67 50 Shades Darker.
What a run, man.
That's a murderer's row of episodes. And I'm not just saying that like as far as like being cocky, because we have really good episodes. We have episodes that are just kind of okay, I feel. I mean, let's be honest.
We're our biggest critics,
Yeah, right. They're all great. I mean, that's just me being humble. But in particular,
humble brag.
This run here is very much worth looking into. If you're just getting into us, I would start at episode 61 and check out that run all the way through to 50 Shades Darker.
Those were fun.
And that is a great snapshot of what our podcast was in its heyday. But as far as the new ones, the new classics, Drew.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I might have to go with Commando.
I had a lot of fun with that one.
Or Summer Catch.
Summer Catch is underrated too. I mean, we had the Deadbeat Dad Off. There's a lot of really, really fun ones. I liked one of my favorite ones for that was Out for Justice because, you know, whose hot dog is this? Is this your hot dog? Is this your hot dog? I like that one too, but then we also had a lot of fun with The Mummy because of the Hamdai. And I never posted the Emotep picture. I got to put that out there.
Gotta have the Hamdai.
Yeah, the Hamdai. I mean, that was a fun one. There's so many.
Before we spend an hour on this, let's go to question 2.
Here, I'll read the next one here. So this one comes from Alex B. Actually, we're not gonna out anybody. We're not doxing anybody here today. So so Alex, thank you for writing. It says, "Hey guys, been a listener since the beginning. As much as I love the villain scale, it's great. When are you guys bringing back the Creep Hall of Shame?" that's a deep cut there. So if you remember, I don't even remember what it was. Episode 4, Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
Phil Hartman.
Yep.
And it says. And Alex also says, I miss the other games that you used to play, like Plot Fiction, Seagal movie, or hip hop album. Jack Black was in that. Would you consider bringing these back? I don't know. Would you? I like Plot Fiction.
I definitely would, and I feel like every once in a while you kind of mention it, and it's my job to make the games, and I'm too lazy, so that's why we don't have them. So I'm slacking, and I need to pick it up. But yeah, I would love to bring Plot Fiction back.
We had fun. I mean, I like those games a lot, and the games were it depends on the movie, I guess. But things like the Creep Hall of Shame, like we definitely should bring that back. We've got the Bad Father Barometer. We've invented some other things. We didn't do the Good Guy Gauge, but there's probably some other last row classics. But definitely. Thanks for writing, Alex. I think you calling us out is a good thing.
Maybe 2022 is going to be maybe the year of the segment. Maybe we'll get more segments going. So Pat writes in, "Hey guys, love your show. Love when you review a series of movies and continuity, like the Mighty Ducks, Batman movies, and Mortal Kombat. Are there any other trilogies out there or series that you would like to do in the future?"
That's a good one. Well, I can tell you off the bat, I want to complete a trilogy, but I don't know if we can do it. But I really want to complete the 50 Shades trilogy.
In this climate, Drew?
I need to know what happens, man.
Yeah. I just don't want to watch it. I just don't want to watch it.
What happens? I just need to know. I mean, I guess I could read it on Wikipedia, but
I guess we do have to finish it. So
we could do a very, very PG-13 take on it if you want. Yeah. But I don't know. What about you? Do you have any series?
Well, I mean, we've done some Cobra Kai work recently, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, Terry Silver ran our lives here for a few days and a few months here in January. Maybe we could go back because we only did Karate Kid 3.
We never
go
did
back
1 or 2.
And do 2 and 1 and even 4. Who knows?
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. And I'll hijack this question for a second. I think you asked me this at the end of the award show. Like, what's a movie you haven't done that you want to do? You mentioned Waterworld. I think one that I've been dying to do, but you can't watch it anywhere, is Super Mario Brothers. I want to do that movie because it's like We joke about Zack Snyder. It's like the Zack Snyder take on Super Mario Brothers, grimdark.
Yeah.
You know, like I would like to watch that movie.
You want to watch that movie? You got to go to Walmart and go find the DVD bin.
Exactly.
Do you think they still have that?
I don't. Well, I wanted to do Double Dragon recently, and you're like, no, you don't want to do Double
it's
Dragon.
not. You don't want to watch that movie.
You don't want to do.
Yeah, I think my answer hasn't changed. Besides Waterworld, I want to do more horror movies.
We could do that.
I'm gonna make you watch some horror movies coming up. So
if there's a trilogy of horror movies, we could do that. Yeah. So, and actually, this ties into the next one. So Eric sent us an email too. I think it was like within the last couple weeks here. Eric says, "Hey guys, love the content. Keep up the good work. Possible review of 3 O'Clock High, starring Casey Simasco and Richard Tyson, prequel to the Cullen Crisp character. Buddy Revell starts down the wrong path up to a life of crime, drugs, and being a deadbeat dad. Check it out, 3 O'Clock High. Thanks." That's one that we could do in the future too, because I looked it up. I've never actually seen that, but anything with Cullen Crisp, I'm kind of down to watch.
I'm a fan of our write-ins, our listeners, just tying the universe together.
Yes,
like of course that's Cullen Crisp. I don't even know the guy's real name. What's his real name? Buddy Revell.
Yeah, I don't remember
it's Cullen Crisp.
Yeah,
it's Cullen
exactly.
Crisp. So
the final boss of the internet.
It's the same character in another movie. That's how I would see it. So I'm glad he sees it that way too.
And that's where I'm inducting Eric into the Last Row Hall of Fame here because he connected the dots.
Yeah, you got to connect the dots. You have to.
That's really good. So yeah, we got to add that one to the backlog for sure.
Before we move on to Terminator, I just thought it would be funny to bring up this conversation that we recently had through text with two of our good friends, David M. and Jamie M. You guys know who you are. We were talking about Nick Cage. And really, what it is Jamie M hates Nicolas Cage, and you're
gonna out her on that right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's not hiding it, so she'll scream it from the mountaintops. So I made the comment that Nick Cage has starred in multiple good movies, and she believes that Moonstruck is the only good movie that Cage ever made.
It's a deep cut there for him.
So among other movies, I list off National Treasure as one of his good movies, quote unquote good movies. And she wrote to us, "I respect your good opinion on most everything, especially movie related, Mr. Badway. But all I have to say is lemon juice on the Constitution." And I just thought that was funny. I don't have much more to add to that. I thought that reaction was pretty damn funny.
When are we doing Book of Secrets? Because I need to know what happens.
I want to know the secrets, Drew.
Maybe that should be the next one. And before we move on from this, thanks to everybody that wrote us an email. I got to give Mike a shout out because Mike always tells us to watch North Shore, and we haven't done that yet. And someone else also wrote in and said, do Lost Boys, and we haven't done that one yet. So we got to add those to the list. But thanks, because Mike always mentions North Shore, and we got to add that one to the list as well. So, But anyway, thanks to everybody that wrote in. I mean, we get some other emails. We got to do a better job of reading these. Thanks, everybody. If you want to send us an email, send us one at thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on the social media channels, and we got to add this more to the shows here.
Yep. So, that was our recognition of 100 episodes. So thanks, everybody, for listening. But without further ado, let's move on to why we're all here, and that's to talk about the Terminator. So I feel like I wanted us to do Terminator just because I wanted just to do a good movie for our 100. Yeah. This is no cult favorite. This is no good, bad movie, whatever. I just wanted to watch a good movie, man. And this is the type of movie that's right up our alley. So we're going Terminator, 1984, released October 26, 1984. Drew, I was a good 6 months old when this came out.
I was negative 1 month.
Saw it in the theater. It was great. Runtime 1 hour 47 minutes.
I was baking.
you were cooking in there.
Yeah.
Sci-fi action directed by James. Don't call me Jimothy Cameron. James Cameroon, if you remember. As
you know, long-time listeners.
Jimothy Cameroon.
Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimbo. Old Jimothy. IMDb 8 out of 10.
Too low.
That's too low. Rotten Tomato 100%. Too low. Metacritic 84%.
Too
low. And Letterboxd 3.9 out of 5.
And I loved it.
Although it's hard to get a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
It's because you're going to get the people that don't understand it.
Who rated it? Like, who did that?
I got to look up like a 0-star review for Terminator on there.
You know how in a Jay and Silent Bob movie where they just go knocking on the doors at the end of the movie for everyone who gave them a bad review? I want to knock on some doors so some people gave some bad Letterboxd scores for Terminator.
Yeah, I didn't comment on this earlier too, speaking about too low or too high. The runtime, 1 hour 47. Do you think that's too low or too high? I thought it was perfect.
Perfect. I mean, this is the type of movie where, now we're not going to get in here and freaking review this movie, but 100 minutes out the door, no wasted time, no
Yep.
wasted scenes. It was wall to wall. This is what we got. This is what's going on, and this is how it ends. Done. They don't make a movie as crisp as this.
Yeah, it was very crisp.
rarely.
Yeah. And I read about how he wanted to include multiple Terminators, and due to technology and stuff, he didn't do it. Thank God the technology didn't exist because we got Terminator 2 out of it. So
Yeah. I mean, there was some weird animation, some weird CG, but hey, it's 1984, and I
Right.
thought it held up fabulously, and I'm glad I watched it again. Hadn't watched it in maybe a decade. I've seen 2 a lot. I haven't seen this one in a long time.
2's the
Yeah.
one that you see, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely, well, I won't get into it. We'll save that
Yeah.
for when we do Terminator 2. Let's do that because we got to add that to the list too.
So Terminator, in case you're living under a rock and you don't know what the Terminator is about, here's what the Terminator is about. Disguised as a human, a cyborg assassin known as a Terminator travels from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor. Sent to protect Sarah is Kyle Reese, who divulges the coming of Skynet, an artificial intelligence system that will spark a nuclear holocaust. Sarah is targeted because Skynet knows that her unborn son will lead the fight against them. With the virtually unstoppable Terminator in hot pursuit, she and Kyle attempt to escape.
Hot pursuit. It's the hottest
So-
pursuit.
The hottest of pursuits. Lots of sheet grabbing, Drew.
You know
Lots of
what?
sheet grabbing.
As you said one time, and you don't even know that you said this quote probably, but a lot of words in that book, man. You read a book to my daughter about My Little Pony. I remember this vividly, and you're like, a lot of the words in that book. Let me tell you, there are a lot of words in that synopsis right there. You probably don't even remember saying that, but it's a saying that I say. And but it was good. I got it. We've had worse synopses or whatever the word is, right?
It was too long.
Too long.
But at least it was accurate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. What about the taglines?
Tagline. So the first one, obvious. I'm calling BS on this. It's probably not on there, but it says "I'll be back." Obviously, that's the line of the movie.
That's the line. Yep.
And then here's maybe a shorter one that we could have used as a synopsis. But in the year of darkness, 2029, the rulers of this planet devised the ultimate plan. They would reshape the future by changing the past. The plan required something that felt no pity, no pain, no fear, something unstoppable. They created the Terminator. Now, look, we said this. I forgot what movie we were talking about where it was like a book. How do you fit that on the poster?
Yeah,
You can't.
There's too many words. What is
Too
that?
many
The
words.
whole poster? That's the whole poster.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be a hologram.
F
So,
plus.
too
F
long.
plus.
The thing that won't die in the nightmare that won't end. That's a good one.
It's fair, especially in
good one.
1984. If you don't know what the Terminator is, that's
Yeah.
a good one.
That's a good one. And then the last one is your future is in its hands.
Yeah,
Ah.
really. It's in Reese's hands too.
I mean, it's in Reese's hands, right?
those are
So I don't know. I like the third one there. The thing that won't die, the nightmare that won't end. It's kind of a sci-fi horror movie if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Take
So
it. Take
the
it.
thing that I found the most interesting about this, right? Because this is Jim Cameron back in the day. He was still establishing himself. This thing had a $6.4 million budget. Now I did the math, Badway. I looked
Yeah.
this up. I know inflation's out of control right now. There's all kinds of
Crunching
craziness
numbers.
with the economy. But according to some website that I looked this up on, right? It did a inflation equivalency. 6.4 million is the equivalent of 16 million today, which is somewhere in between like a rom-com and like a low budget action movie.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with what they
Yeah.
did with this budget.
he made it work, right? He made it work.
Maybe the prosthetics were a little kind of crappy in some scenes. You look at Ghostbusters, they had, full torso, full vapor apparitions going in, flying in the library and all this stuff. But, 16 million, they kind of made it work for that. And they turned it around too, right? 78 on the return.
Was the endoskeleton? Was it like claymation?
I think it was stop motion animation.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Stop motion animation. Like it was pretty bad, but also like kind of charming.
Yeah. I mentioned in the beginning of the show to you that they wanted to do 2 Terminators in this and all that stuff. He wanted to use basically T-1000 and a liquid one with claymation, and he realized, like, you know what, maybe that's a little too ambitious. I don't think I can do
You
that.
do too much, it's gonna. Some of the bad animation is charming. If you make the whole movie about it, then the movie just looks dated. So it was a wise choice.
I'm going to quote a wise man named Kunu, and I'm going to say why this movie did well, because it didn't do anything, but it did everything. Just don't do anything, you know? And and that's great. Like you mentioned in the beginning, it's in and out. It's
Yep.
not a minute of downtime. Everything made sense. It was all essential to the movie. There really isn't anything you could have cut from this, and it was great.
Forget about all the time travel stuff. The movie's about a guy chasing a girl trying to kill her. That's really
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it's
not
a
gonna-
stalker movie. It's a stalker movie.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too deep into the awards here. We talk a lot about awards on the show. There wasn't anything. The MTV Movie Awards didn't exist. The Kids' Choice Awards didn't exist at this time, but the Saturn Awards did. And something I'll just call out kind of briefly here was Gremlins also was out this year, along with Ghostbusters and some other stuff. And I was really surprised at how this didn't clean up at these Saturn Awards. Like Gremlins beat it out in a number of categories, and I was really surprised. And Arnold lost, I think it was like Best Actor. He lost to Jeff Bridges. And then Linda Hamilton was up against like Daryl Hannah. She won for Splash. And then the director, so Jim Cameron lost to Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins. And I noticed in a bunch of other categories, Gremlins beat this movie. And I thought that was interesting. I'm not saying Gremlins is a bad movie. I like it. But by comparison, most people are going to talk about the Terminator.
It's fair. I think it's fair. And I don't know, for as big as the Terminator was and how well it did, it's still not T2.
Correct.
And I feel like Terminator Original got its lore boosted after the release of T2, I feel.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but
it was respected as a good movie, a good action movie, and a star-making performance from Arnold before. But I feel like the franchise became that untouchable thing after T2. So yeah, I could see Gremlins being perceived as better.
And Gremlins was ambitious at the time, right? But let's not sleep on this thing. I mean, this thing made $78 million.
Sure.
It's not like it did
it's stood
nothing.
on its own. But it wasn't really, a franchise. Took them 8 years to make the second one.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, and I think this is a good segue. So you mentioned about this being a stalker movie.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the violence, right? This is rated R. For a rated R movie, what is the violence? Like, how would you categorize this on like a violence scale? Because there's not a lot of blood per se, except for him cutting his eye out and stuff like that. But like, what's the body count situation going on in this?
Yeah, so I don't know. It says from what is this, movieBodyCounts.com,
Yeah.
about 34. And I would not include the Terminator, so it's 33 because that's a machine.
Yeah.
We're not counting dead machines here.
Instead of
Are we going to count all the cars that got crashed up? Are we going to count those too?
Hey man,
No.
Terminators are people too.
No, I don't think they are.
He had blood, he had body, he had flesh
Yeah.
on top of his body.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. Yeah, besides, a heart getting ripped out, Kano style.
Bill Paxton's poor heart.
Yeah. I feel, and the self-mutilation, it seemed like a pretty tame R,
Yeah. It's more the MFers and the language, probably, I guess, is what did it.
Yeah. And, and the sweet lovemaking,
That's true.
That-
And
that's
there was
also-
nudity, right? So there was
Yeah.
actually, so it was
Right.
nudity.
Well, there was double male ass. There was full frontal female.
Double
Yeah.
male ass. Oh my god! Well, All Out of Bubblegum gave it 45 kills, and they gave Arnold 29. But I looked in the details of this, and part of the All Out of Bubblegum scores versus MovieBodyCounts.com is they were counting sort of implied deaths at the police station, and
Yeah.
I think when we talk about it, we like to go with confirmed kills. And just because
Right.
you hear somebody getting shot, you can't confirm it. So I don't know.
Nope.
Maybe we go with 34.
No, wait a minute. They gave Reese a kill. Who did he kill?
Maybe they gave him the Terminator.
What civilian did he kill? He didn't kill anybody
I don't know.
that I remember.
Who did he kill?
I don't know.
Maybe it was. Well, it's one person died,
Did
but
somebody get caught up in a pipe bomb that he was throwing?
I don't remember, to be honest. All Out of Bubblegum didn't give him any kills. They gave Sarah Connor the kill for the
Oh.
Terminator, but
Well, we need to get our news from All Out of Bubblegum. All
Yeah.
due respect to MovieBodyCounts.com, but those are rookie numbers, man. Let's boost your numbers.
and I don't know how
45.
that site's still around. Like it hasn't been updated in forever, and whoever's still paying for the hosting for this site, I want to help them because
What was it? Is it kind of like you for 3 years during your hiatus, just keeping
Yeah.
Last Row podcast alive?
exactly. I'm just paying. It's negative money from my
Yeah.
life.
You got to respect it
So-
in a sad way. You got to
I
respect
don't
it.
know. Let's just talk about the movie then. So obviously we're not going to talk too much about plot, but I don't know. I think when we look at this movie, we should probably look at it in a vacuum. Like, let's not look at the future movies and the future rules. We'll tackle that at another day, right? So we mentioned Terminator 2. It's kind of its own thing. But for now, maybe let's focus on the time travel of this and not get into like Genesis and all these other random like
Yeah.
time loops. So let's keep it simple for this. So you think that's a good ground rule for this? I think maybe.
Yeah, I'm not looking in the future. I'm pretending that we just got out of the theater. It's 1984, and
Yeah.
we want to talk about how this time travel exists. I don't care if they answer the question on the Sarah Connor Chronicles on Fox in freaking 2006. I don't care. So we're only talking about here and now, this movie. So
I mean, this movie's centered around time travel and this vision of the future. I think we should start with this teleportation technology just in general, because Reese goes back in time, and so does the T-800, Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're both double male, nude ass here in this machine. Like, how does this thing work? Do you get naked before you go in, or do you leave your clothes on and they get wiped away?
I don't know how it works, Drew, but I do know that you need to get buck ass naked for it to work. It's not going to work if you have anything on. If you have socks on, you be fully naked with socks, it's not going to work. Fully naked with gloves, not going to work. Banana hammock, not going to work. You got to go full.
Did you ever see the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum? I mean, it's a remake,
Yes.
right? So he gets in there and the fly gets fused to him. Is it like, Reese says it when he's with the cop, like, oh, it doesn't send back non-organic matter. And then the guy, the cop says about, well, how did they send him back? And he's got the flesh over top. But is that true? Like, it won't work? Like, I don't get it. Why do you have to be naked?
Okay. All right. So like if you skin a rat, right? Let's say you skin 4 rats, right? You have 4 rat pelts and you wrap it around a gun, a plasma rifle. Could you sneak the plasma rifle into Earth? Go back in time just because of the pelt is tricking the time machine? Is that how this works?
Isn't that the equivalent of what they did with the T-800?
Yeah. And if that does work, then why wasn't there someone like me thinking of this so they could sneak in the plasma rifles?
Or they get like a giant, like some animal to swallow like grenades and like send them back. like grenades?
Reese could have swallowed the grenades. You just got to poop them out, man.
Yeah, people shove drugs up their ass all the time.
People go to prison all the time with stuff. The airports.
I don't get it. And the other thing, I'm just going to poke a hole in this, Jim Cameron. I'm sorry to take
Jimothy?
The master to task here, but the whole plot line of the T-800 went back. They discovered this thing in a lab. They figured this time machine out, and they sent him back and only him, and then they blew the machine up. Are we giving John Connor a little too much credit for being this genius military tactician? Like, you have this unstoppable murdering machine and they know it went back. Shouldn't they have sent back like the whole damn army and then blown it up?
Or
they send one guy back.
2 guys or 2.
And then they blew it up.
3.
And what if he died on the way? Like, did they know this was going to work? Like, that's a lot of pressure to put on. And then they blew the machine up.
No, Drew, I'm going to tell you right now, I know exactly what happened, and you're right. It makes sense to bring more than one guy. But you got to remember who went back.
True.
It was Kyle Reese. And he knew that if there was a bunch of dudes coming with him, that he might not be the one to get with Sarah Connor. So they were throwing out ideas on the whiteboard. Yeah, well, we got to send Jim. We got to send Frank. And yeah, Kyle, you're coming too. And Kyle goes, wait a second, guys. This is a very dangerous mission. I'm going to be the hero. No one's coming with me. I'm going by myself. Trust me, guys. I got this. He was doing it because he didn't want any competition.
Dude,
telling you.
I think you uncracked the code.
I cracked the code, man.
You cracked the code, man. It's true, though.
He put humankind in so much danger because he didn't want to get C-blocked by, Fred was probably bigger. And, Frank over there, is probably more handsome, and more suave. But Kyle, he looks like a little rat guy. Are we honest? Let's be honest. He looks like a little rat dude.
Michael Biehn.
Yeah. So he didn't want the competition. He just didn't want it.
And but what's interesting to me is they imply, right, with the tape at the end that Sarah Connor tells, she tells John Connor, and this gets into this time loop aspect that we can talk about in a second, but it's implied that he knows that Kyle Reese is his father. And that's why they're friends. And I mean, that's not why they're friends, but basically that's why he sends him. But to your point, give him a little backup. You know what I mean? Come on. This guy's on his own. He's going back. How does he know how to drive a car? How does he know how to do any of this stuff? Can't they help this guy out a little bit? He doesn't even have a gun.
I'm sure there was schooling, I mean, he was a sewer boy growing up in the sewers, but there had to have been some schooling going on and like to teach you about the past and how mechanicals work in the future. He was driving the gunship in the dream. I don't know if it was a dream or if it was a flashback, but like, well, he drove it poorly. It kind of reminded me of like driving in Halo, where it's just like you start wobbly driving and all of a sudden you kind of like hit a rock and flip the car over the cliff. That's kind of what it was.
You're the best Halo pilot that I know. Yeah. I can only shoot from the back. I can't.
Well, you know, it takes practice.
It's a good team.
Hey, I got a question about on the other side, the machines, right? Them going into the past, right? When they're like building the exoskeleton, the skin and human flesh exoskeleton. You know where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have like a reference point for the size of the dong, or do you think are all of them huge, or do you think they make tiny ones?
Or do they have none? Is it like the mannequin?
Is it a Ken doll situation?
Is it the mannequin? Yeah. And is it functional? That's the real question.
I'm pretty sure that there's one there because they're trying to be accurate. But like, imagine if they have like one specimen of naked human.
I mean, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger there.
It's like the tiniest penis you've ever seen. We're talking. We got a micro penis going on, and then like that's what Arnold's like. We don't see it in the movie, but like when he's walking up to Bill Paxton in the beginning, like he's making fun of his baby dick. That's what I'm assuming.
Bill Paxton knows a thing or two about that, right? From True Lies.
That's a callback. It's a callback, actually. I got a little dick. It's pathetic. It's a callback
from True Lies and Jim Cameron. Yeah. Bill Paxton should be in every. I mean, he's not R.I.P. He should be in everything. He was in a lot of things. He might, honestly, he might be the actor that's shown up in the most movies. We've done a lot of Seagal movies here and Schwarzenegger movies. And it's certainly possible that Paxton was in more Last Row movies than any of these other actors, just because of all these side parts.
Yeah, not starred in any of them besides. No, I don't think we've ever done
Twister.
A movie that he
that was
starred
it.
in. Oh,
Twister.
That's it. Yeah.
Other than that, but no, and we were just talking about Cyberpunk before we started recording here, and you can decide what your reference point is for that. That's all I'll tell you. You talking about the character builder? You can build your own T800 in there. It's all I'll say. But no, I think you're right. If they do need to make it realistic, they have flesh. They've got it. They gotta have some reference point. They were on labor camps, so maybe they had somebody strung up there. And are there at this point were there female Terminators too, or was it only male Terminators? Because they had the other guy bust into the sewer and he busted up people, and it was a guy like Arnold.
They had only shown two, but I'd assume that they would be smart to make female ones.
They gotta trick people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other aspect of this whole thing that I kept thinking about was, how are they training the Terminator? Are they feeding him like computer parts or computer programs to teach him about things? Because the whole aspect of him needing to use the phone book to find Sarah Connor.
Yes.
Is it because it was before Skynet went online? But at the same time, shouldn't Skynet know every piece of information from history? So why does he need to use the phone book to get her?
I don't know. Like, can you look back on the internet now? Could you find out the name of the person who lived at 123 Front Street, Los Angeles, California?
You can look up public records
in December of 1984 or whatever.
Probably there's public records,
but they rented. Say they don't own the place. Say they rent.
That's fair.
Then I feel like there's no renter's log, and we're assuming that they're renting this place to Sarah Connor and her friend. So. Maybe that is not public knowledge, so that the Terminator does have to go in the phone book and just start killing all the Sarah Connors.
Well, what about back to the machine itself, the time machine? You asked me this before. We should probably try to figure this out, but they didn't go into too much detail about it. But is he trying to direct the time and place that he winds up? Like, how does that work? And are they there at the same time? Did they know that?
So, why is Dank Alleyway the location? Now, I guess maybe for privacy.
Yeah, you're naked.
But I was more thinking of no one's gonna say, "Hey, what the hell's that alien doing here?" But you went with naked. And
they don't want to get arrested for public indecent exposure immediately. You travel back 50 years and you get arrested for showing your dong.
So if they pop Arnold on Hollywood Boulevard at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, I guess that would raise some eyebrows.
He gets arrested immediately.
Yeah.
Public nudity.
Yeah. So I guess you're right. Yeah.
But for real,
so maybe there was a calculated choice. It might have been a calculated choice. Put him in an alleyway at 2 a.m. and so nobody can find him except for the stray punks,
Was it also planned that they would be at the same exact time at the same location? Like, what if he got there a day before and he was late? Or
Yeah.
what if did they know? Like, I mean, they didn't go into this, but what do you think?
Yeah,
Because they
so,
must
like,
have known, right?
could they have known that? Oh yeah, we sent you back. We sent the T-800 back in time to October 5th, 1984. Like, why did they go send Reese back to October 4th?
Yeah. And maybe the machine. So when they captured the lab, maybe the machine said it right there, and they had the numbers punched in, and they saw it or
Yeah.
something. The
Maybe they
exact
didn't
same
know how
time.
to. Maybe they didn't know how to work it. Maybe this or that. But like, yeah, if they maybe took a little bit of time, because Arnold's got to, the T-800. He's got to find his clothes, his boots, his motorcycle. He's got to go shopping for weapons. And then he's got to like random chance all the Sarah Connors in the Los Angeles area. So they had a little bit of time. They could have like poked around with that machine a little bit and just, found a way to go back another 1 day prior and scoop up Sarah Connor 1 day prior, or 2 days, or a week, or a month, or whatever.
Well, we talk about him going back to kill Sarah Connor, right? That's this genius plan. They want to erase him from existence before he exists. But why did they really throw him off and send him back to like the 50s or the 60s or whatever time frame it was and just kill Sarah Connor's mom, so John Connor's grandmother? Like, nobody would have seen that coming.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Maybe this is me speaking out of turn, but like I feel like people in the 50s and 60s, they wouldn't have been as hostile, or like I feel like the Terminator could have really done some damage back in those days. Some even more unsuspecting. I feel like by the 80s, there's a lot of hardened people at that time that are more prone to defending themselves from violence.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, yeah, send them back to the 60s. Hey, hell, send them back to the 30s. Get the great grandmother. Hell. Why not in the 70s when it was a young Sarah Connor? Do they not?
Yeah.
They don't do kids. The
That's true.
The Terminators don't do kids. They don't.
Maybe they weren't thinking like that, and that's the proof that a computer doesn't know everything, right? Even if it's the AI, it's not perfect.
And whatever happened to just like a stakeout? Like, why is this thing so impulsive? Why could the thing literally calculates for a living? It's what it does is calculate.
Right.
Why did it just go blasting Sarah Connors out of the phone book? Why did it just take a day to do some research?
I have another idea. Why didn't it go back and become her friend, and then like build trust?
Whoa!
Why didn't it just say like, "Hey, Sarah, like I'm whatever," right? He creates a fake identity. He becomes her friend, and then just murders her in her sleep.
I like you, Sid. I like you, Sarah. I'm gonna be with you days, nights, weekends, holidays.
That's the movie we didn't get. But think about that. That would have been a smart idea too.
Genius.
They go back. Just be her friend.
Yeah,
let her guard down.
Just think about the scenario where the Terminator just lays low, or even be friends, right? And then you got Kyle Reese, who's like just crazy paranoid from the jump coming out of this time machine. So Arnold has made no kills to no Sarah Connors. It's a day later. Reese shows up on Sarah Connor's door, screaming about the revolution, the robot revolution. She'd call the police.
Yeah.
She never would have went with him. This guy would have been locked up in the loony bin, and then the T-800 would have had all the time in the world to just stalk his prey.
What if the T-800 said, "Reese is out to kill you. I'm here to protect you."
Yes.
And he played the other side.
Dude.
I mean, they need the 1000
exactly
model,
right.
I guess.
I was also thinking, maybe this is my stupid mind, but while I was watching this, when Reese like actually like got her to like follow him, come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
That whole thing. I thought, man, what kind of a mind F would it be if both people were in on the gag? Like Reese and the Terminator were in on it. And they were like, the Terminator's coming to get you, and Reese is like, I'm gonna protect you. And what really is, it's really like a long con to like steal her identity or something like that.
And he gets her too.
Like maybe there was no shootout in the nightclub. It wouldn't have been as like public, but it's like it's a good way to like scam someone.
Yeah.
Have
Steal
one person
identity.
after you and another person saying, "I'm going to protect you." And in the long run, all they do is like just steal your social security number or something.
I guess
that's how my brain works.
I guess the neural net processor was not powerful enough. They didn't have the Apple M1 chip here and all these all these different chips that are just going crazy. But it's interesting though, because that could have been a cool angle like for a future movie. And maybe it isn't. I never saw the newest one, whatever the hell it's called, Revelations or something. So I don't know. Maybe they do that in the other one. But let me ask you this. let's flip it on its head a little bit more. So I'll kind of give you two scenarios. So there's other movies that are out there like 13 Monkeys where there's these time travelers and people don't think that they're real. They think they're crazy, right? And they thought Reese was in the loony person. They want to throw him in the loony bin. That like the psychiatrist was out there talking about he's going to make millions of money, pumping this guy around the TV and stuff like that. 13 Monkeys comes to mind, right? But what would you do if this actually happened to you? If somebody came back, and I'm going to ask you how you would escape the Terminator next, but would you believe somebody? What would it take for you to actually believe that this is happening in real life?
I need proof. I need like
what kind of proof?
You know the scene in 2 where he removes the skin off of his hand
with Dyson?
to reveal to Miles Dyson that it's real. Like that's kind of what I need. I'm a seeing is believing kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna take some crazy dude's word for it. Like really, I'm gonna have to see it. I'm gonna have to see it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if there's a shootout in the nightclub and he hit him with the chest with the shotgun and the thing got right up, maybe I'd kind of believe him a little bit. Maybe. But then, for all I know, the gun's not real. And then we got this whole stolen identity thing that's going on in my head.
It's two guys playing around with
I feel like maybe it's two guys playing around with me. So I don't know.
Could you imagine like the level of acting that would need to go into those guys having a shootout?
Have you seen prank shows? Have you seen?
And then Ashton Kutcher comes out and you get punked.
Have you seen Scared Straight or whatever that show's called?
Oh my God. Dude, I mean, yeah. The other thing that we didn't even touch on, and I'll have to say this very quickly, but like, why did the police, like, they just ignore the T-800 the entire time? Like, I know he kind of slipped away, but it's like, oh, Kyle Reese is the evil guy. He's the one that's trying to get her. Meanwhile, this thing's a machine, and it's like literally a machine, but it's also figuratively acting like a machine. It's just not budging. It's blowing up the place. Like, you had all these cops in the place not believing him. Like, I'm not saying that I was happy when the cops got shot up because there was a lot of innocent people in there that had nothing to do with it. But that psychiatrist was a jackass. And even the main cop, they didn't believe him for a second. In fact, they were making fun of him. Maybe the main cop who was smoking was kind of like, maybe this guy's kind of got, maybe some truth to it. But people didn't treat the Terminator like a threat. It's kind of crazy.
No.
Like, would you? And how would you get away from him?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, most of the innocent cops did end up dying in that police station. The skeptics and the ones that were making fun of it, they're probably the ones that lived. And yeah, the lieutenant was kind of like at least willing to hear out Reese.
He was listening.
Everyone else was making fun, for sure.
So how would you beat one? Or maybe a better way to ask this is, what's harder to beat? The skeleton version of it that's like limping around?
Oh.
Which seems relentless.
Okay.
Or the human flesh version where he's got to like sew up his wounds and cut his eyes out.
I disagree. Maybe it was the CG, but when it was stripped down to the is it endoskeleton? Am I saying it right?
Endoskeleton, right? Exoskeleton's the outside.
Yeah, endoskeleton. When the cyborg part of it is revealed, first of all, it's a very iconic look. I'm not making fun of the look. The look is very cool, but to me, it looked like a little bitch once the Arnold was removed from it, right? Maybe because it's the Arnold aspect, but when I saw the little skeleton coming at them, I'm like, come on, you can fight that thing. How's it going to kill you?
It was dragging its foot too.
How's it going to hurt you? It was limping. I was like, come on, man. Just
robot
trip that
with a
thing.
club foot.
You know how we joke about it's funny when we see robots fall.
Yeah.
You know, when they show like they make a dog robot or they make a robot do an obstacle course in today's like science and the thing just fails. Like it's kind of
they
funny.
always show those guys like try to kick them over and show how stable they are.
Yeah. So and this was not a Johnny Five situation where it would have been sad. This could have been a robot beatdown if this had been Philly. That skeleton would have stood a chance.
It's like we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Things waiting for the bus, it just gets thrown out in the trash.
I mean, am I wrong? Do you disagree? But I felt like once it lost the Arnold suit, it was immediately not dangerous to me.
It had a scarier face, I'll say that.
Yeah, but it is skinny. It's skin and bones.
It was. It's like fighting a skeleton, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather fight a person or a skeleton?
Now, if the thing still had a gun in its hand, then maybe I would have been like, whoa, what's going on here? Didn't even have a weapon.
Well, what is it in Terminator 2? And I know we said we wouldn't talk about it, but just for the sake of this, didn't they show a bunch of them with like laser guns and stuff? In this, they did a little bit.
Yeah,
but not too much.
Infinitely more formidable of an opponent.
Because what's it going to do? It was limping around. I mean,
yes, it could choke you to death. Sure, it could snap your neck. Sure, But I feel like you could get around it, man. You could. It's
So
weak.
you beat it?
Yeah, it's limping. Especially if it's limping, it just went through an explosion. It's weakened.
Listen,
I don't know, man. I feel like I could trick it easier than if it were Arnold.
I'm going to tell you exactly how they could have beat it. I know the answer. Okay, the answer is it's plain and obvious. Their car ran out of gas. So what do? They just stop and they put the car. They probably made it 2 miles from wherever they were. Like, get on a damn plane, dude. Go to the airport. Like, go somewhere. That thing's not gonna know.
That thing would not pass security.
It doesn't have GPS.
It would not pass. It would not be able to get on a plane. So what's it gonna do? Swim to Europe? What's it gonna do?
But it won't know that you're in Europe. Like, it doesn't know where you are. So it doesn't make sense. Like, it's almost like a criminal is more smart than this thing where it's like, hey, get the hell out of here. Go to another town. Go to Mexico. Like, they should have went to Mexico.
But it will not stop, though. So do you want to be looking over your shoulder the rest of your life?
No, but would you rather wait there?
I feel like they have to kill it because it just won't. It'll just keep.
But
coming.
what they should do is go to Mexico and wait there, and then build like a build a fortress. Like, they're driving around these crappy beat up Cadillacs. They got no weapons. Like, they could go, get an army. Go get other people that are like cult members and convince them this is going to happen.
It's like, here's the thing. So if you're running from, I don't know, Jason or Michael Myers in a movie, once you lose sight of him, you're dead because he's going to show up in front of you, right? I feel like if you got out of the Terminator's sight, aka flew to another country, that 30 years down the line, when John Connor is actually bored, but not so much in the future to where the revolution has started, John Connor is going to be coming back from the grocery store one time. You take a bullet to the back of the head. Terminator is just going to get him. Like that. You're less safe getting the sense of security.
Well, I'm not saying that they should be secure and safe. I'm saying they should go away and regroup.
But you got to live scared the rest of your life.
They should hide out in a fort, or they go. Listen, the guy's all shot up. Reese is all shot up. You're gonna like limp into a warehouse. Yeah. Just take the car. Just keep going. Get away and get ready and regroup, and then you attack.
Okay, but when you regroup, it's like, okay, let's say you go to Italy.
Yeah,
for 3 months, and then you fly back, and all of a sudden, oh shit, Terminator's gone. Where did he go? He's probably in Oklahoma or Texas or Pennsylvania or Maine. He's somewhere in those United States. Then it's like he's so far away that you won't know when he's coming back.
But would the thing ever find them? Like, how would it find them? I don't know. I mean, I guess
it won't stop. It eventually. It will eventually. It'll find. Like, do you see him flipping through Sarah's phone book, like little black book? Like, it's smart enough. It would find clues. It would figure out a way.
You're right. I mean, you're right. It would find a way, and maybe I should leave it at that because I'm probably beating a dead horse here.
No, and I'm not. I don't want to say you're wrong because you're not entirely wrong. It's just my feeling is I don't want to live looking over my shoulder. I feel like we got to deal with this thing.
I just think they should have taken a step back and regrouped and then dealt with it. Okay. Like, maybe they could have kept an eye on him and they would do it.
Well, they did. They did try though in the motel until Sarah started blabbing about where she was
stupid as hell
to her dead mom's voice
through Arnold's body.
Yeah,
it's my favorite part about the movie when he uses the different voices of other people, like the cop in the car, and he's doing the mom. That was really good.
I love you too, sweetheart. He's mouthing it. Yeah.
Well, let me 2 quick questions before we move on to the next topic here.
Yeah.
What actually powers this thing? Is it like nuclear powered or something where the battery doesn't go out? Did they mention it? And then what the second one is, what's the most effective weapon against him? Because in Terminator 2, they're using a shotgun against the liquid version of him, but like the shotgun seemed to be pretty effective because it knocks him down. The buckshot, right? You get the big buck hunter out. What's the most effective thing? Like, can you beat the battery? Like, she smashes him in that hydraulic thing in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how would you actually try to tackle him? Would you get away? Would you be able to do it? Do you think you could beat him?
No, I'd probably give up, to be honest. Yeah. Like I've said this in previous podcasts that if something's chasing me and he's trying to kill me, I don't have the heart to live on.
You're done.
Just get me because I can't do this.
You wouldn't want to live in the sewer in the future, like
no. I can't do this. You're gonna get me eventually. Just get me. I don't have the will to fight, especially like if you. I don't know. I just can't do it. Terminator's coming to get me. Yeah, he's probably gonna get me. So just come in to get me. I'll fight him.
Death?
I'll fight him, but like I'm not gonna like.
Are you the equivalent of like? Are you gonna like
run.
slap fight him? Like
Yeah, I'm not gonna run. Like, yeah, maybe my point of view on you escaping and regrouping versus me staying and fighting is that I can't like.
You want to get it over with?
I want to one way or the other. We're finishing this thing. You're probably gonna kill me, but one way or another, we're finishing this thing.
Oh my god, you get it over with?
Yeah,
you get it over with.
I'd be with Kyle Reese in the kitchen, building pipe bombs. That's what I would be doing.
Oh man. Well, look, let's do it. It's the part of the show where we got to do it. We've been talking about the 800 for enough times. We're gonna go back to Alex. Alex wrote to us in the beginning about the villain scale. We don't have a creep hall of shame here. Maybe we could put Kyle Reese in the creep hall of shame because he kind of creeped on her a little bit. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit if we have enough time. Let's put the T800 through the villain scale, and we could talk a little bit more about him through this. If you're new to the show, you've never heard about this villain scale. We have 4 categories: look, style, hideout and layer, plan, and henchman. Scale 1 to 5, and then I think we give a bonus point or not to ruthlessness, and then it's out of 20. We'll see where the T800 falls. Let's just start with the look and style, Badway. What do you think of this look?
Well, it's funny because he didn't really choose this look. He just happened upon it. Let me ask you this. Do you prefer this kind of 80s, I don't know, cyberpunk look versus his T2 biker leather look?
Yeah, I liked it.
You like the coat? You like the kind of the big baggy coat better than the biker look?
And it's funny because I was saying to this, I said this to you when we were talking about what movie to pick, and then we were watching it. This movie has such a dated 80s vibe if you watch this like 10 years ago. But now that the 80s are hot again, synthwave and cyberpunk and all this stuff, I'm watching this and it didn't seem dated at all. It's like back in the day when people had glasses like us, like when we were kids, you have glasses, you're a geek. If you have these like plastic ones, because that's what people had in the 60s. But the time came back. I like the look and I think it's awesome. And he took it from the biggest pipsqueak of the whole movie.
Yeah.
He stole his clothes. Your clothes, give them to me.
Yeah.
I like his look.
It's funny that the way the style was, the guy was so skinny, but he had the baggiest clothes on, and it just so happened to fit Arnold perfectly. So
gotta fit him.
Yeah, I feel like I like it better than the biker look. He kind of looked like a biker dork, if you ask me, in T2. So, but that doesn't necessarily make his look great.
The question is, what's more dated, 80s or 90s? And I think because the 80s is before it, 80s is back before the 90s is. 90s is kind of coming back.
90s is more dated, right?
But 90s looks more dated than 80s, even though it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And I think maybe he looks cool, but I also like the sunglasses that he had too in this because they were the big style shades, which are cool now again.
Yep.
But like his look and the way that like his eyebrows got singed off like immediately. I liked that.
Oh yeah.
He took damage. I think we gotta go like pretty high on this. In my opinion, you gotta go like a 4 for his look.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say 3, but yeah, if you want to go 4, I'll give it to you. I mean, I
think we have to. Let's go 4.
Okay.
And also maybe the last question in this before we move to the next category is like, what's better, Terminator vision or Predator vision? Because Predator, like they kept talking about they have IR, but all he saw was red. It looked like a virtual boy.
Yeah, is it Predator vision green?
It's like
or is it also red?
Thermal, so you can see everything. So you see like heat, and he's supposed to see it. But when I mentioned it right, like it looks like he's looking through a virtual boy. How do you see?
Definitely,
anything?
You're right. It does look like a virtual boy. Yeah, I feel like we got to update that technology.
Maybe we should.
I feel like they did in later editions. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Predator vision.
Maybe we have to give him a 3 for that virtual boy vision here. So. But what about his hideout or his lair? Like he had multiple places throughout this. Like what's your take on this?
I'm considering his lair to be that crappy one bedroom apartment.
Yeah,
that he kind of just walked in the window and isn't paying for. So,
who lives there?
Yeah.
Did he kill the guy?
Maybe he killed the guy. He's in the closet. Yeah, I guess because the janitor says, "Hey, buddy, you have a dead cat in there." He killed the person. That's what happened.
Do you like how? Again, it's a little details here, but he kept the guns underneath the mattress. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Was he to hide that for?
Yeah. The janitor walks in on him, he'll just shoot him. It's fine.
What does he need to hide that for? Just have it out in the open,
It's
dude.
true.
He's got a
Terminators should
busted
have,
up eye.
yeah, Terminators have no shame. I'm telling you. This one
He
has
shouldn't-
shame.
He's got no discretion here. What's the discretion?
Do you think that, Skynet and the robots and the machines, did they send a dud to do this job?
Maybe. He doesn't
I'm
know
thinking
what he's
about it
doing.
now. Maybe this guy sucks. And if they would have sent another Terminator, the job would have been done in less than a day.
I mean, just look at the yeah, guys looking in the phone book. Come on. We gotta save it for the plan because we're about to get to that in a second.
Yeah, I feel like we got a dud on our hands here. I never thought of it this way, but I feel like they sent the wrong Terminator.
They get the software's not up to date.
Yeah, he's malfunctioning.
He's like the mid-range one.
They're like, send the 800.
See if he can do it first. But we'll save it here. Save it here. But what do you go? So what about it? What about this apartment? It's not very good, and he stole it from somebody. He didn't do much. He's driving around this busted up cop car. I don't know. Is it good? Maybe like a 2.
Nah. Yeah, a 1. It's a 1. It's a roach infested, L.A.
The Roach Motel.
The slums of L.A.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's a
bad. It's pretty
there's nothing. There's nothing to it. It's
There's
a
nothing
1.
to it. So it's just speaking of the dud. Go to the plan here. Like what? Obviously, the plan of the movie is that he's going to kill Sarah Connor,
Yeah.
but how he goes about
Execution.
it,
Execution.
right? I mean, phone book. Like what? Tell me more about his plan. Like maybe he did do the dud.
Yeah, I mean, he had to use the phone book. I mean, going to the gun store was pretty smart. I mean, that's if you have to ammo up, and you couldn't bring ammo with you. Congratulations on him for the wherewithal to go to the gun store.
Found the right guy too. The clerk
Yeah,
gave
right.
it to him.
Yeah, I just feel like you don't have to go blasting and announcing yourself right away. Like that was his biggest flaw, is that he just went guns blazing on every Sarah Connor in sight instead of doing just an hour's worth of research. Maybe when he knocked on the first door and asked Sarah Connor, and she goes yes, and like maybe ask her a couple more questions. Rather than yes, boom, kick the door open.
I still think it's idiotic that he didn't know what she he didn't know what she looked like. Like I guess didn't they have a picture? Like I mean, come on, they got the records of everything. It's Skynet. It knows everything. You would think.
If she had a driver's license, then there had to have been a photo of
pictures.
her in some computer in 1984 that Skynet could have drawn from in the year 2029. I agree. I don't want to poke holes in the plot of the movie, but I'm glad the phone book exists because it's a funny thing to talk about. So,
we talk about his patience and all that, but think about it. Like if he had befriended her, like we said earlier, he could have done he could just sit there and do nothing and just wait.
I love your idea of befriending her. I never even thought of that before. That would have been awesome.
I think his plan, and then the other question that we need to talk about is, what does he do when he finishes the job? Does he just sit around and does he go into the lava and thumbs up like in 2? Like what does he do? What is mission accomplished? What is that?
When he kills the real Sarah Connor's best
Roommate.
friend in their house, the roommate, if Sarah doesn't call, does he think that he killed Sarah Connor?
Yeah, and is that mission accomplished?
And if the answer is yes, then what does he do? What is his reason for existing anymore? Does he self-terminate or does he just wander the globe?
I like the idea of him because I forgot, like in one of the later movies, isn't he just like shut down somewhere? Like he's in like under a highway overpass or something.
Something like that.
Like I imagine he's just sitting there waiting for the revolution. Like he's powered down in like some warehouse somewhere.
Yeah. Like where does he go? Does he have directives? Does he have other targets after Sarah Connor? You think if they're going to send someone back, take out Sarah Connor, but while you're there, because you're not coming back,
probably
maybe
do
kill
this
X,
too.
Y, and Z. Maybe he has a hit list. It starts with Sarah Connor. She's number 1 on the list. If he's got all this time, Drew, I'm just going back and thinking of theories. Why doesn't he wait until she's most vulnerable when she actually becomes impregnated with John Connor? And she's 9 months pregnant.
Take them both out.
Then go after her.
And then they both got.
Why doesn't he just surveil the 3 Sarah Connors until one of them becomes pregnant?
Yeah. And Reese, he could have really snuck up on Reese, let them be paranoid. But you're right. He's like you know, you ever play Far Cry or you play these games where you got to like stealthily stalk and you could attack bases. You can go in, you can be guns blazing, or you could be, you know, whatever, like the meme, right? Leroy Jenkins. He's Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
He's running in there.
Yep.
He's announcing himself and he's just, I mean, I know he's a machine, but it just seems like he could have done a better job. His the plan is good. I'm not saying the plan itself is bad. Go execute the mother of the future savior of humanity. That's a good plan. Go in a time machine. That's great. But the execution is awful.
Kicking down the doors is not ideal.
You might raise some eyebrows.
He could have killed one in an alleyway.
Yep.
Waited a month and killed the second one in a look like a car accident.
Yep.
Right? A hit and run.
Stage it.
So then, like, oh man, like no one would have put together that two Sarah Connors died, you know, a month apart because neither of them looked like murders or something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that both Sarah Connor's doors were busted down and killed within an hour of each other makes it look suspicious.
Speaking of hit and run, I love how he was clearly attacking, like aggressively attacking Reese and Sarah Connor. He was like, his fist and face was through the windshield.
Yeah.
And he was like aggressively trying to kill them. And the cop's like, oh, we got a hit and run over here. I'm like, dude, he's trying to murder them. Like a hit and run? Get out of here.
It's all perspective. I mean, we got the camera angles to prove that it's not the case, but to them, it looks like, oh man, they hit this guy. And
get out Dean Blandino, man. Get the official review here.
Yeah,
it's
we
ridiculous.
Need another angle. We got the good angles.
But you're right. He should have waited. He should have been more clear. And it was also ridiculous that all of her friends were like, hey, check this out. You're going to laugh. Somebody named Sarah Connor was murdered on TV. Isn't that funny?
That's not funny. That's not funny at all.
What? Look how funny this is, man. Good thing it wasn't you. She's dead. She died.
She died.
Come on.
It's a 2. It's a 2 for plan.
It's a 2. I agree.
It was a good plan, but within plan is also execution, which we always score on. So it's got to be a 2, right?
And I'll say it's a 2 because he was roughing people up. He did pretty good job at that, but the execution was so bad.
Yeah.
No, next category, Henchman. He didn't really have any sub bosses in this or anything like that. And I blame Skynet for not sending anybody else back. They could have sent 500 Terminators. They had the machine. Unless they were under fire and they quickly sent them back right then and there. Because I think in one of the later movies they do that. We're not going to go into that. But in this, maybe they were under fire and they had to send them before the humans blew up the base. That's what he says. They were desperate.
Yep.
But you know, you couldn't have had somebody else stand there with them. They're, you know, get out of here.
I agree. Maybe have somebody run in interference or something, or maybe have the one guy be the lookout or the researcher. I don't know. It's got to be something. But yeah, since he has 0 henchmen, he's got to get minimum score of 1.
Yeah.
Have to have it.
I mean, are we missing anybody? I wouldn't. I don't think so, unless you want to call the psychiatrist his henchman. But you know, that's a stretch. So I don't know. I can't believe he scored this low here. So I'll quickly recap. Right. So for look and style, he got a 4. Hideout and layer is a 1. Plan is a 2. Henchman is a 1. Is it 8 out of 20?
It's 8. It's an 8 out of 20.
Pretty bad.
I mean, we all love the Terminator as a villain. I think he's better as a babyface in T2 for sure. But hey, you know what? Call it as we see it. He's not the greatest killing machine because he had one job. He killed so many people, except the one he had to kill. So, hey, all those loud noises, all those bangs, all those shots fired. Got to be calculated, man. Maybe instead of 45 on your body count, how about make it like 2? Yeah, and have the one that really matters be it.
Man, I don't know why I feel so empty inside. I don't know. I feel disappointed. He could have held the fort down better, but we got to call it like it is. It's an 8 out of 20. You're right. So
never meet your heroes, Drew.
We can't get out of here without just quickly touching on the Kyle Reese Sarah Connor relationship. I don't want to go too deep into this. I don't think we need to. But
yeah, he went deep enough. So
yeah, do you think that? Do you think that that she really loved him, or was this like all PTSD induced like love? And what is he really like? Like I don't really get it. Do you think she really liked him? I mean, she says the quote about we had a lifetime of love in 2 hours.
It's a fate thing, I think, and maybe it's just you get caught up in the moment, and you know, maybe she got maybe the wheel started turning in her head, saying, "Hey, you know what? They're talking about my son. I'm not pregnant. He's about 30 years old. It's about 30 years away. So who is this future father?" And maybe she like looks around and looks at all the pipe bombs and all the bombs that are on the kitchen table, and she says, "Well, maybe Kyle's the one."
This guy knows how to provide for a family. He can provide self-defense, and
Yeah.
he knows how to do it. Let me ask you the last question here. What is the real life equivalent, even though you can't really do this in real life, of going back and hooking up with like what a legendary woman, right? He fell in love with her because she's a legend. He had her picture, I don't want to see where that picture's been, but he had that picture for years. Like, what is this legendary woman? Who would you go back for? And would you fall in love with them?
I don't know. I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about legendary women, like historical figures. Are we talking
I guess
about? Like, am I going back to see if I can get a date with Harriet Tubman? Is that what we're talking about? Like, what
or
are
like
we talking
Cleopatra?
About here? Or Cleopatra? It's like
Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Like I don't know like how. I'm thinking about Bill and Ted.
I don't think he's doing it for the glory, but but again, that's a reason why only he got sent back and not any of his colleagues, because he wanted her all to himself.
He loved her, man. He loved her. Would you go back for somebody? I don't think I would. I don't know if I want to risk like getting maimed in a time machine.
I don't know. It might be worth it. It depends on how crappy the life is.
I just had another.
He's a sewer man. So yeah, I think going back to 1984 sounds pretty sweet.
Him and Oswald Cobblepot are gonna have the toughest mayoral race in the primary in any history. I just thought of something crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
What if the machines booby trapped the time machine, and it wasn't actually a time machine, and it was a death trap and a death machine, and they sent this T-800 back because they could just kill it, right? It doesn't matter. And they send Reese, like, he's our only hope. We're going to send him back. And they blow it up. And it's like booby trapped, and they have another one somewhere else. And they send him back, and then they blow this thing up, and they think that, okay, we got him. We sent him back. We're good. And then Reese just dies instantly.
It's not a bad idea.
Dead in an instant.
Yeah, because the T-800, they're like, we're gonna get this bum.
Yeah, get him.
this malfunctioning bum of a robot.
Yeah, exactly. Get him out of here and kill out Reese.
And then in turn, they get the human's best soldier.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not named John Connor. I love it.
I'll leave you with one thought, and I think this is a good way to wrap it up. But why hasn't there been a Terminator versus Predator crossover? They have Aliens versus Predator, but why hasn't there been Terminator versus Predator?
I'll tell you now, is I believe it's because the Terminator has no reason to fight the Predator or the Alien. So that's why I feel like there's no mainstream. But I did look this up. So if you look this up, you get pointed to a comic or a graphic novel or whatever on Amazon. Terminator, Alien versus Predator versus Terminator.
Oh, all three.
Yeah, it's all three.
It's too much, too many.
And it's like, I'm not even going to tell you what it's called, because I'm going to believe the reviewer here from August 3rd, 2019, AWC, where he gave it 2 stars, poor everything. And I wrote down his review here. These people had creative license to use aliens, Terminators, and Predators, and this is what they came up with? I could write a better story in 20 minutes. Some hack named Mark Schultz wrote this. Thanks for nothing, you disgrace.
Whoa,
2 stars.
Oh my God.
Now,
2 stars.
Now, consider the scathing review, but he still gave him 2 stars. You know what that tells me?
It's for the art.
He still freaking loves Aliens, Terminators, and Predators.
Yeah.
He loves it so much that he'll take something, even though it's a disgrace. This is the biggest piece of crap I've ever read in my life. 2 stars.
Dude, I mean, first off, calling him a hack and then calling him a disgrace. That's pretty serious allegations right there.
That's really why I wanted to read that, is because he called him a hack, which that's just, call somebody a hack. That's the labor equivalent of scumbag.
Yeah.
Is hack, the word hack.
Scumbag. Yeah.
If somebody at work called me a hack, we're fighting. just as if somebody on the streets called me a scumbag, we're fighting. You're
so bad. It's like a hack to me is also like, it means imposter.
You're an
imposter. You're not only
yeah.
bad, but you're an imposter.
Yeah, you're an imposter.
Like you're a joke at your job.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad. So just like we're hacks on this podcast, right? We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. You think you're hot? You're not.
100 episodes in, and these hacks, Drew and Badway, still haven't figured out how to do a podcast.
That's
right. So, and on that note, please leave us a 5-star review. So,
Last Row Podcast, 1 hour, 20 minutes, too long.
These too high, too low.
Too low.
Man, oh my God. Well, look, we made it to 100. We got to give us some credit for that, please. And thank you to everybody that's listened for 7 years plus, multiple hiatuses and everything. And thanks to everybody that wrote in at the beginning of the show. If you want to give us any feedback or leave us a 5-star review, definitely check us out, thelastrowpodcast.com. Send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. We'll definitely do a better job of reading these on the show in the future. Tweet at us at thelastrowpod, facebook.com/thelastrowpod. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you are enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review, not a 2. And don't call us hacks. And on that note, we'll be back with 101 on March 17th.
Or not. We may retire. We'll see.
keep him guessing, right? Just like, what do they say? He's not that into you. We should do that movie. He's just not that into you.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
See ya.
So that way. Is it fully functioning? You asked it earlier, but maybe now that we're after dark here, maybe we can answer the question. Is it fully functioning?
There is blood.
Where there's blood, there's other bodies.
Blood flows.
They spent the time to make.